Hey, it's Jason, Nomadic Pagan. Welcome back. Today we're going to take a break from the Dedicant Path Will of the Year, or the booklet from Michael Dangerler. We're going to talk about Samhain since that's the holiday that's coming up, October 31st. So let's dive right into it. Right here's the webpage from history.com. Their sources are pretty good on this one. So let's go read through this thing. Samhain, a Gaelic word pronounced Samhain, is a pagan religious festival originating from an ancient Celtic spiritual tradition. It is usually celebrated from October 31st to November 1st to welcome in the harvest and usher in the dark half of the year. Celebrants believe that the barrier between the physical world and the spirit world breaks down during Samhain, allowing more interaction between humans and denizens of the underworld. Ancient Celts mark Samhain as the most significant of the four quarterly fire festivals, taking place at the midpoint between the fall equinox and the winter solstice. During this time of the year, hearth fires in family homes were left to burn out while the harvest was gathered. Now, hearth fires are like their fireplace or their stove in their house, in case you didn't know. After the harvest work was complete, celebrants joined with Druid priests to light a community fire using a wheel that would cause friction and spark flames. The wheel was considered a representation of the sun and used along with prayers. Cattle were sacrificed, and participants took a flame from the communal bonfire back to their homes to relight their hearth. Early texts present Samhain as a mandatory celebration lasting 3 days and 3 nights, where the community was required to show themselves to local kings or chieftains. Failure to participate was believed to result in punishment from the gods, usually including illness or death. There is also a military aspect to Samhain in Ireland, with holiday thrones prepared for commanders of soldiers. Anyone who committed a crime or used their weapon during this celebration faced a death sentence. Wow. Okay. Some documents mention 6 days of drinking alcohol to excess, typically mead or beer, along with gluteus feast. So it was a big old party. Okay. Samhain monsters. Because the Celts believed that the barrier between the worlds was breachable during Samhain, they prepared offerings that were left outside villages and fields for fairies or sadids. It was expected that the ancestors might cross over during this time as well, and Celts would dress as animals and monsters so the fairies were not tempted to kidnap them. Some specific monsters were associated with the mythology surrounding Samhain, including a shape-shifting creature called a puka that receives harvest offerings from the field. The Lady Gwen is a headless woman dressed in white who chases night wanderers and was accompanied by a black pig. Headless horseman, anybody? I don't know. The Dullahan sometimes appeared as impish creatures, sometimes headless men on horses who carried their heads, riding flamed-eyed horses, and their appearance was a death omen to anyone who encountered them. And there's a headless horseman. Carries their heads. Okay. Now we're getting somewhere here. A group of hunters known as Slagud, or fairy host, might also haunt Samhain and kidnap people. A lot of kidnapping going on Halloween, huh? And we used to go out trick-or-treating back in the day. Similar are the Slag, who would come from the west to enter houses and steal souls. Myths of Samhain. One of the most popular Samhain stories told during the festival was of the Second Battle of Magtarad, which portrays the final conflict between the Celtic pantheon known as Tuatha Dé Danann, an evil oppressor known as the Fomel. The myth states that the battle unfolded over the periods of Samhain. One of the most famous Samhain-related stories is the Adventures of Nera, in which the hero Nera encountered a corpse and fairies and entered into the underworld. Samhain figured into the adventure of the mythological Celtic hero Fenna Mac Conhel when he faced the fire-breathing underworld dweller Ellen, who would burn down the Hall of Terra every Samhain. Samhain also figures into another Fenimacanoid legend. I don't speak Celtic or Irish. Sorry. Where the hero is sent to the land beneath the wave, as well as taking place on Samhain. Its feature descriptions of the hero holiday gatherings. Samhain in the Middle Ages. As the Middle Ages progressed, so did the celebrations of the fire festivals. Bonfires known as Samhainhans, which were more personal Samhain fires near the farms, became a tradition. So this big old bonfires. Purportedly to protect families from fairies and witches. Carved turnips called jack-o'-lanterns began to appear, attached by strings to sticks and embedded with coal. Later, Irish tradition switched to pumpkins. In Wales, men tossed burning wood at each other in violent games and set off fireworks. In Northern England, men paraded with noisemakers. Dumb Supper. The tradition of Dumb Supper began this time, in which food was consumed by celebrants, but only after inviting ancestors to join in, giving the families a chance to interact with the spirits until they left following dinner. Children would play games to entertain the dead, while adults would update the dead on the past year's news. That night, doors and windows might be left open for the dead to come in and eat cakes that had been left for them. I don't think I would leave my doors open with the beginning of this article with all those spirits that come in and kidnap you. I don't know about that. Christian Samhain. As Christianity gained a foothold in pagan communities, church leaders attempted to reframe Samhain as a Christian celebration. Of course they did. Of course. The first attempt was by Pope Boniface IV in the 5th century. He moved the celebration to May 13th and made it a day celebrating saints and martyrs. The fire festival October and November, however, did not end with this decree. In the 9th century, Pope Gregory moved the celebration back to the time of the fire festival, but declared it All Saints' Day on November 1st. All Souls' Day would follow on November 2nd. Neither new holiday did away with the pagan aspects of the celebrations. October 31st became known as All Hallows' Eve, or Halloween, and contained much of the tradition pagan practices before being adopted in the 19th century America, through Irish immigrants bringing their traditions across the ocean. Trick-or-treating is said to have been derived from the ancient Irish and Scottish practices in the nights leading up to Samhain. In Ireland, mumming was the practice of putting on costumes, going door to door, and singing songs to the dead. Cakes were given as payment. Halloween pranks also have a tradition in Samhain, though in the ancient celebrations, tricks were typically blamed on fairies. Wicca and Samhain. A broad revival of Samhain resembling its traditional pagan form began in the 1980s, with the growing popularity of Wicca. Wicca's celebrations of Samhain takes on many forms, from the traditional fire ceremonies to celebrations that embrace many aspects of modern Halloween, as well as activities related to honoring nature or ancestors. Wiccans look at Samhain as the passing of the year and incorporate common Wiccan traditions into the celebration. In the Druid tradition, Samhain celebrates the dead with a festival on October 31st, and usually features a bonfire and communion with the dead. American pagans often hold music and dance celebrations called witches' balls in proximity to Samhain. Celtic Reconstructionists. Pagans who embrace Celtic traditions with the intent of reintroducing them faithfully into modern paganism are called Celtic Reconstructionists. In this tradition, Samhain is called Oki Samana and celebrates the mating between Thrata de Dana, gods Dagda and river Unis. Celtic Reconstructionists celebrate by placing juniper decorations around their homes and creating an altar for the dead where a feast is held in honor of the deceased loved ones. All right, the sources for this is BBC, Samhain Rituals, Recipes, and Lores for Halloween by Diana Raquel. The Pagan Mysteries of Halloween, Jean Markel. Trick or Treat, A History of Halloween, Lisa Morton. And Celtic Gods and Heroes, Maria Louise. I'm not even going to try. But it's important to list your sources. The MLS citation, you can Google that. That's over there. Here's what I wrote for mine. You can visit my website at dedicantpath.soulstudioscreations.com and I'll list the whole entire coursework I did. Okay? Samhain, the name for the Day of the Dead, or known as Halloween to most now. The Celtics often celebrated Samhain for welcoming in the harvest of the crops and bringing the dark half of the year to fruition. On Samhain, the boundaries between Midgard and the underworld are at its thinnest. Some celebrate by having a feast for the dead. People brought food to share among their friends, even setting a plate at the table for their ancestors. People dressed up, usually wearing animal heads and skins of slain animals, told each other fortunes, and celebrated around a huge bonfire. After the celebration, they would bring back to their homes the flames from the bonfire to relight their hearth, to protect them and keep them warm for the upcoming winter. For me, growing up, I celebrated Halloween by going out trick-or-treating every year, dressed up as different things. Every year. I should have put that. With it being Florida, we really stayed out too long, as it was too hot usually. From now on, I now celebrate Samhain with a new passion. As family members grow older and pass away, I now take this time to remember them. I actually do every year. I try to set up an ancestry altar, light a candle every night. Got pictures of my loved ones on it that passed away, and just time to remember them. That's Samhain. Now we need to find a ritual for Samhain. Okay? You go to adf.org. Of course, if you remember, you log in. You go to Rituals and Practices, and you go to Links to ADF Rituals. And on this page, we look for Samhain. Samhain's right there. And there's, I think, 2 pages of rituals you could use. See if I can find a solitaire one. Solitaires are easier, but you can use a group ritual and just do all the parts for it. And there's not one here. Samhain rituals. Let's see, claiming. Let's go with Stone Creed Grove Samhain 1999. And on this, it's just the whole ritual. Of course, it's a group because there's choruses and a lot of singing on this one. See if I can find you a solo one. I didn't prepare to look for a solo one, but let's go back to links. There might be a category for solitary. Okay. We'll just look through there and see if you can find one that will meet your need. Okay. All right. Thanks for joining us today. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps the algorithm. More people to see this. More people to join ADF. This is Jason. Hope you all have a wonderful Samhain. And we'll catch you next week. Peace.